Gacha Box. It's a show about reviewing video game commercials. If you're new around here, welcome. Glad to have you. If you're coming back, irashaimase, which is what you get if you subscribe to the channel. You get to be greeted very aggressively in Japanese. What we have today is some more Nintendo Entertainment System classic commercials, late 80s, early 90s, the playing with power era. Some ridiculous things were revealed last time. As always, I'm going to go ahead and throw up the 3 marketing types that you need to know to enjoy what we're doing here. Good. Glad you enjoyed that. Now, without further ado, let's get started.
Watch Zelda become a legend on your Nintendo Entertainment System. Zelda!
We just get this guy yelling Zelda in an empty room. Oh, and his head is zipping all over the place. Alright, so this is marketing type 3. Hold on. This is marketing type 3. It is essentially just trying to get an image to stick into your mind. Sometimes this comes in the form of having jingles or music. Sometimes it is subliminal, putting things in the background of a scene. And other times, like right here, it's about being weird. It's about being in your face and strange and getting you to remember the biggest possible image they can. They have this guy's head jerking around the scene from left, right, top, bottom. He's crawling around a dark room. Seems to have nothing to do with Zelda, because that's exactly right. It has nothing to do with Zelda or what you're going to do in the game. He's just yelling the names of the enemies in the game in a weird way. And hopefully the idea is that you're getting the names of the enemies stuck in your mind, getting the name Zelda stuck in your head, so that you will go to the store and buy Zelda because you're thinking about Zelda. Let's finish this one off. I mean, it is funny to just have a full-grown man going around squealing various names of things. It's funny on a base level.
You left him for dead.
Wow, all of these early Nintendo commercials are really going for like this dark horror look, aren't they?
For now, in Simon's quest for Nintendo, fates
Silence Quest.
and you need more than clues from cowardly villagers to survive when it turns into night.
Dracula's Riddle, make sure they show the reference on the screen.
Video game, it's only a
Konami. Alright, hold up. We're going to pause there again. So, rapid fire, I know, but that commercial only had one aspect that was the Type 3 marketing in it. Did you catch where it was? That was at the very end when the game box for the game was pulsing like a heart. That is supposed to be the weird image that sticks in your head. I would say that actually isn't quite as effective, because where it occurred, the title was not being presented on the screen. It was not at least as a central figure in the image. It's not really associating the product name with the image. It's just a weird image. So the idea is there, the execution isn't as good. Now, other than that, they want you to associate it with the value of being scary. Value association is type 2 marketing. It's basically about making you feel as though the thing is important or related to an idea you already care about in some way. For example, by putting Dracula's name up on the screen, they want you to associate the quality of the game with the quality of the classic literature that you, as a parent, might already know if you're an enthusiast, if you are an adult enthusiast. You might see Dracula and go, oh, I know Bram Stoker's Dracula. I want my kid to have a game that they're actually interested in, since they're not going to read the book. But it's weirdly, all of these early Nintendo commercials seem to be like in very dark settings, and I'm kind of wondering what the coherent through line is there, because not everything we've looked at, in fact most things that we've looked at, have not been horror games, have not been horror themed. That last one was the closest thing we had to something horror themed, and from my perspective, it didn't really look like the gameplay was scary. So I'm not exactly sure what they were going for. I would say that commercial was significantly less effective than the previous one. All right, moving on.
Good night, Mom.
All right, something's going to go wrong. Oh, okay. It's a Toys R Us commercial.
If your child is
Ah.
Nintendo, the control deck with ball
Okay.
pack is only $79.97 at Toys R Us. Sapper light guns just $19.99.
Okay, cool. This is actually a pretty straightforward commercial. This isn't using more modern tactics.
Toys R Us. You'll never outgrow us.
Cool. Let's talk about that one. That one was pretty good, actually. It was marketing type 1, which you saw at the later half of that commercial, was essentially just showing you the product, showing you its price, and trying to get you to understand that the product is quality enough to warrant the price. In terms of what was their value 2, their type 2 marketing was the value association. The value association they wanted you to see there was that having these products, having these games would allow your child to sleep soundly at night. Or if you are a child watching this commercial, you associate it with sleeping well, nice feelings, being in a good mood, or being relaxed, being happy. That's the value they want you to get. But they also had Type 3 marketing, the more classic version of Type 3 marketing, in that it was something memorable. It was a jingle, a song at the very beginning that hopefully gets stuck in your kid's head, and your kid sings it, or gets stuck in your head if you're watching television with your kid, and then you will remember the product, the Nintendo products, a bit better. But in particular, you will remember Toys R Us, because this was a Toys R Us Nintendo Entertainment System commercial. They want you specifically to go to Toys R Us, and really, that commercial was extremely successful. It had all three classes of marketing in it in quick succession, going from Type 3 to Type 2 to Type 1 back to Type 2. And as a commercial, it was very broad. I think it would actually be more successful if it were narrowed down to one or two of the marketing types rather than trying to get them all in there at once, because while the commercial had a variety of things, it wouldn't be very effective for any one kind of person that was watching it. Now, this next one that I'm looking at, that I'm about to play, looks kind of like we're going back into the horror. We just left a commercial where they want us to feel good and feel happy and not be scared like all these other Nintendo commercials. But I got a creepy man looking at me, so let's see what's up with this.
The creator of Ultra Games for Nintendo.
You are not the creator of Ultra Games.
Deadly weapons. Defender of the crown with strategic castle sieges, babes in distress, and skate or die in 5 rad events that pit you against.
How is this supposed to be scary?
Check out Ultra Games.
Why is he trying to make it scary? There's nothing scary in the games. Ultra Games. A game collection. Oh, good lord. Okay, so dude was saying you gotta master it or die. I don't understand why they think that being scary is going to be the thing that really makes the image of the game stick in kids' heads, because they're putting the horror context onto so many different things. Maybe this is a marketing strategy that actually worked well on younger ages, that being just a little bit scared, maybe because their threshold for what they find scary isn't as high, makes it so that they would actually be able to remember the commercial more. I'm not sure if that helps Nintendo in terms of whether or not the kid wants the game. If kids are that susceptible to being scared, maybe they won't actually want the game, won't ask their parents to buy it in that case. But outside of the this is scary theming, that was clearly marketing type 3, memory marketing. Again, a weird image of a guy's head flipping around, bouncing, coming in and out of the screen through special effects. Type 3 marketing is all about getting that image stuck in your head. I don't think that one was very effective. It wasn't weird enough. It wasn't fast-paced enough. It was kind of just a guy talking creepy, but not in a comedic way, not in a shocking way. And really, you want it to shock if you want it to stick in a person's head. It can't just be creepy. It needs to shock. And creepy things, like slow-paced things, can create that, but it's more successful, it's more likely to be successful if it is either very loud or very disturbing. And that one was just neither of those things. The games that they were showing interspersed with the guy's head didn't match in tone, so there wasn't a consistent through line for the message of the commercial. But at the very least, they did get the value association, which most video game commercials are going to have, which is to just make you think that the game is cool. Play the game, you'll be cool. Skills to master. That's one of the most common value associations you find in the entirety of the games industry, even to today. People want you to think X is cool. But from a marketing perspective, if you want to create a commercial where you sell the idea that the game or something is cool, you usually need to do a little bit more than to just say thing is cool. Because people see so many of those kinds of commercials, they're inundated with them. It's less effective because people are more desensitized to the idea of being told something is cool. We're always being told something is cool. We don't need to be told multiple times. We don't need to be told if we have that association with the game. We usually need something else to convince us if it's going to be something counter to our typical tastes. Does that make sense? I hope it makes sense. We're gonna move on. I'm having a great time. I hope you are too. We've got a guy looking at a painting, so we're going to associate games with high art in some way, which I appreciate. That's not something you would see very often, but we're also seeing the images of mainly art depicting naked bodies. That's not a naked body. Hey, that's a stick figure.
Ultima Exodus for the Nintendo Entertainment System. Once you start playing, nothing else matters.
That's confusing to me. That was a confusing commercial to me. Mainly because the value association they were trying to go with is high art, right? But what they ended up with going towards is sort of, I guess, trying to paint a through line of art becoming more and more simple and less artistic. And then they had a slogan at the end, a quality slogan, type 1 marketing, where it's basically just saying this is a valuable thing. It's very good at what it does. That once you have that Ultima game, you'll never need anything else. It's very broad. And I think mainly they were going for type 3 marketing, going for an image that would stick in your head, type 3C, where they would show you all of these high art pictures, then show you a stick figure, and obviously that's the odd man out, and then immediately throw up Ultima the game on screen so that you associate Ultima, the title and game, with that funny picture you saw, and then connect the value later with the slogan. I don't think that commercial was very good. I think if they wanted to go in the direction of using type 2 marketing, like I thought they were doing originally, associating Ultima with high art, they absolutely dropped the ball. They didn't associate it with high art. They went for the gag instead and wanted you to remember the gag. If they had associated it with high art, that Ultima was the next big thing, then they would actually probably be able to get away with the type 1 marketing slogan at the end, where they say that you'll never need anything else. Or they could have gone with something like a grand world for you to explore, or explore the possibilities of art. Like, they could have made it a type 2 and type 1 commercial. Instead, they went with type 1 and type 3. Type 3 commercials, which are about shock, which are about images, which are about manipulating your memory, they don't really work well with type 1 marketing as much, unless it's, say, like a jingle, and the jingle itself is the description of the quality of the product. Like Bounty, the quicker picker-upper. Everyone knows Bounty, the quicker picker-upper. Or sometimes Bounty comes at the end there. Either way, it associates quality with the thing that is supposed to stick in your memory. That's where type 1, type 3 marketing really works. This, I could leave it. I would absolutely push the artistic angle way harder. And like, if I could, I would have framed Ultima, behind a frame, have the television showing Ultima in the museum, and then hit the slogan of Ultima, you'll never need anything else, because that would associate in the parent's mind a significant amount of quality, significant bang for your buck, a lot of gameplay for the exact same price as all the other games on the market. That could have been the great commercial. It had all the bare bones for a great commercial. Totally dropped the ball. Forget your stick figure, dude. I don't care about your stick figure. I can draw my own. Tell me why Ultima's better than that. Don't get me to associate Ultima with that lousy stick figure. To whatever adult drew that stick figure trying to be a kid, I'm sorry. I'm sure you're really good at art. Just try better. Try harder next time. Not your best work. Alright, let's keep going. I got plenty of these to go through. Classic Nintendo is just a treasure trove that keeps giving.
So the boy fell asleep in the Toys R Us store, and he woke up with toys from the ceiling to the floor.
Why is Toys R Us so obsessed with sleeping?
Including the control deck with double game pack and Zapper light gun for just $99.99.
What?
Toys R Us. And we have all the hottest game cartridges at great everyday low prices.
Love growing up with my Toys R Us kid. Toys R Us. You'll never outgrow us.
Okay, Toys R Us. You and me need to have a conversation. Why are you so obsessed with putting kids to bed? That commercial started with a child falling asleep in your store? Dude, are your toys that boring? Now, like the previous Toys R Us commercial we just looked at, I guess what they're trying to go with is associating that Toys R Us is the stuff of dreams, that it's what your kid should be dreaming about or would be dreaming about. They went into standard type 1 marketing, saying you get a good deal for a low price. Easy stuff, great to see it. But it didn't really describe the quality of those products, just that you would get a lot of them for a good price. And then they ended it on a jingle. Jingles will never steer you wrong, but they're a little blasé. If the jingle is not central to your commercial, don't just kind of slur your way into it at the end of another sentence. People aren't going to remember the jingle because they're not going to remember the sentence that comes before the jingle. The jingle should stand alone. It should be something that I want to sing later. But if I have to speak regularly and then slur my way into it like I'm starring in Les Miserables, maybe that's not the best way to go about that. Maybe there's a better way to sell me a light gun than making me think of really low quality Broadway, eh? Alright, how many more of these can we do? Let's do at least one more, see what happens.
Hello and welcome to the Caveman Games. Let's go down.
Alright, we've got a newscaster in a cave. Oh my gosh, that's actually great. Oh man, I love the like altered reality. There's like they did a little bit of crossover.
Caveman Games for the Nintendo Entertainment System. You get eaten, you get eaten.
Okay, that one was awesome actually. That was a great commercial. For one, it was very focused. Gave you the premise, Caveman Games. The live action section is related to the game itself. There's going to be a coherency between the scenes, but they actually went the extra mile and recreated the gameplay in real life. That helps the audience's imagination. It helps the audience to picture what the game is supposed to be going for and see the value, see the fun by a metric that is more familiar to, say, someone who maybe hasn't played that many games. It's a good commercial for onboarding people who aren't already fans of games to go, oh, hey, I can see why that would be fun. Having a person fly across the screen was a really great touch. It was pretty well edited, especially for the time. And I kind of thought that they were going to stop with the integration there, but then at the very end, they came around, they showed the scene of a thing, a dinosaur eating a thing, and then they showed the game, had a person come in with a dinosaur glove hand and bite down on the game and take it away. The whole, I'm going to grab it, I'm going to take that, that's mine, that is the type 1 marketing that you want to see, because it is a very low-key, suggestive way to say that thing is good, it's high quality, by basically just showing someone wanting to obtain it, by grabbing it rather than just putting it on the pedestal. It encourages a person to think about getting it for themselves. That was a really great commercial. I really enjoyed that one. It was funny. I think the game itself was meant to be funny, so they stayed on tone with the game itself. Always important to do when you're trying to do type 1 marketing is to really associate the tones together. And I suppose you could also call that a little bit of type 3 for the comedic visual aspect of a person flying across the screen. I'm not sure I would actually remember that too much later on, but it was enjoyable while I was watching it. And that was enough to get me to the type 1 association with quality, but maybe not the type 2 association with it being humorous. Actually, no, I take that back. I would say that I absolutely associated that game, the Caveman Game, with the idea of the game itself being humorous. I even started my description of the commercial there, and subconsciously it already worked on me. So yeah, that was a great commercial. It absolutely did type 1, 2, and 3 in a coherent way, and even got me to not even realize that I had associated the game with being humorous from the outset. I was too focused on the other aspects, which means its main point of marketing was extremely successful if I could only pick out type 3 and 1 before realizing type 2 after the fact. We're going to watch one more because what I'm looking at as a preview here is some guys doing some high-flying kicks, and I like martial arts, so let's see how cringy this gets.
Dragon 2, The Revenge.
Double Dragon 2, The Revenge!
Arcade game. Head-to-head action. Double Dragon 2, The Revenge.
Okay, perfect. That's a great thing to end on. That was so straightforward. Loved it. That was just cool for cool's sake. They're yelling out, Double Dragon 2, The Revenge. They're saying it multiple times so that you remember it. That is type 3A marketing. Rather than a jingle, it's just repetition. Repetition helps with memory. Don't forget, repetition helps with memory. And they had some stuntmen do the action that you do in-game. Helps with the visualization, helps with seeing the quality that you're going to purchase in an age where they couldn't really do too much capture of games or put the presentation of the game at the absolute forefront. If you'd like to take your own Dragon's Revenge on the channel, you can do that by hitting the like button. I'd really appreciate it. I've got plenty more coming for you soon. There's absolutely plenty of Nintendo Entertainment System commercials that I can be looking at here, but in the comments you can go ahead and suggest some game trailers or some commercials that you would like to see reviewed on GachaBox. And you never know, they might end up in the next episode. And don't forget to join us next time where Jason Schreier and I are going to walk the streets of New York throwing bagels at hot dog salesmen. I'll see you then, and stay true.